Hey, everybody, it's me, Tuniscia O, and welcome to Tea with Tuniscia O. Do you see this beautiful lady I have right here? Sharon Kelly's in the building. Welcome, Shelly. Shelly, I will give you a new name. I took the S and the Y and the two L's. If my
That's okay. I'll answer.
Listen, when my sister sees this or my family, they're going to be like, this girl will always give you a brand new name. I'm sorry, Sharon. You're definitely not Shelly. Welcome to the show. Hey, Eli. How are you? Welcome, welcome. We're so excited to have you today. So today, Sharon is going to be joining us and sharing how we can successfully get through life blending a family after divorce. That is a real topic. So we're so excited for you to have us, for us to be with you, sharing your nuggets. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, welcome. So tell us about yourself. I know you have 6 beautiful children.
Yes, I do. I have 6 children. I have 4 from a previous marriage. I have a bonus son, and I have a child that my husband and I have together.
Awesome. Beautiful, beautiful. So where do you want to start with this? First, I want to shout out for people who maybe later on, the Blended Family Conference is coming. We'll speak on it really quick, then we'll jump in and we'll speak on it once again. You want to give everybody the information on that?
So we're going to have a Blended Family Conference on May 4th in Woodbridge, Virginia. You can find out more about the information regarding the conference on SharonMKelly.com. You can also purchase your tickets there. The tickets actually are on sale until March 31st. After that, the prices will increase. So I encourage you to go on and purchase your tickets. If you are in a blended family, if you're considering being in a blended family, if you know someone who's in a blended family, I encourage you to come out because we're going to have some awesome speakers. There'll be life coaches, therapists. There'll be people who are in blended families and have been in blended families for a very long time. And I say that sometimes experience is our best teacher.
Absolutely.
And if someone else has gone through it before us and know a better way of doing things, sometimes it's very good to hear from them so that we don't make the same mistakes. The whole purpose of this conference is to empower families, to encourage them, to let them know that the blended families can work if we all work together and we wrap it with love.
Absolutely, 150. And guess what? I'm going to be there.
She's going to be on the panel, and she's going to be answering all your tough questions.
I'm so excited. Come. And then my good girlfriend, Sanita, will be there. Sanita, if you're watching, you know I'm giving a shout out to her. You've met her when she talked about Anaya's project. So come on down. And I know there's a lot of other great people that are going to be there. Yeah. So if you are in the Maryland area, Virginia area, DC area, or even if you're not,
that's right.
It's going to be a day and a time worth coming. Invest in your marriage, you guys. Invest in your marriages. Yes, absolutely. Your family, your marriage, and yourself. You know, you get so many aha moments by living through other people. Most of my growth has come through listening to other people share their stories with me. So come on down. And I will definitely have this book on point, Empowered Stepmother, Grow, Glow, and Thrive Harmoniously in Your Blended Family. If you guys haven't already downloaded the free ebook, it's Women's Month. Yesterday was International Women's Day, and I kicked it off. And so it's Women's Month, and you guys get that book for free up until March 12th. Go ahead and grab that ebook. Thank you, because we've already had 100 plus downloads yesterday alone. So let's just keep this fire going. All right, let's get into it, Sharon. Let's go. All right, tell us where do you want to start in this story? Because this is something.
I guess I start at the beginning. I was in a marriage for 16 years. And as a Christian, it was very difficult for me to make the decision to divorce. It was because of adultery. And even with that, a lot of times Christians will say, oh, if it's adultery, you got a free slate. You can just get out of that marriage. And it's not as simple as that. It's a process. It's understanding that it's not just you involved. Your children are involved as well. And, you know, wanting to make the right decision and do what's best for the children. So ultimately decided to end the marriage. And a few years later, I ended up remarrying. And it's funny because after I divorced, I said I would never marry again. I would never allow.
Everyone has that. I hear that a lot.
Yeah. Yes, I would never marry again. I would not risk giving my heart to someone and being vulnerable to someone and giving them the freedom to have this possibility of being able to hurt me. I wasn't going to go down that route. And I also had said I never wanted another man to raise my children. That was like a thing for me.
You said a lot. You said a lot.
What'd you say, Tuniscia?
You've said a lot. It sounds like something changed.
Yeah, it's funny because, and I say this all the time, be careful who you judge and be careful what you say about other people's situation, because I was that girl who was very judgmental. And I had a lot of people in my family who had blended families. And I used to think, oh, that wouldn't be me, honey. That would never be me. I would never be having another man or woman tell my kids what to do. And it ended up being me. It ended up being me full-fledged. But before it was me, it's funny because I remember calling my the youth leader at my church. And when my husband had, then at that time, we didn't even know each other. We saw each other in church, and he reached out to me. And he told me that I was a woman that God had told him that he was going to marry. And I remember calling the youth leader, and I said, honey, I said, the devil is a lie. I said
the same thing about my husband.
I said, there was no way the Lord told him that, because me and the Lord had a serious conversation, and this was not happening again. I said, I am not remarrying. And the youth leader laughed with me. We laughed about it. And he said, you know what? I'm going to tell you this. I don't know if he's the one, but I will tell you this. I want you to leave your heart open. I want you to go to God, and I want you to pray, and I want you to be open to whatever happens and to trust him with your heart.
I love it.
And when he said that, it was just like this aha moment. And I was still a little nervous about it. I started praying about it. I started reading books to help me, because did
you even like him at the time, though?
I did not. I thought he was.
That's a whole separate. Okay.
Right. I thought he was very, and it's funny how we judge people, because I thought he was so stuck up. Never had a conversation with the man ever, but I just thought that about him.
Yes, you decided. I get it. Like, we do this all the time, judging. Ladies, if you're single, I hope you're listening. Your man may not come packaged the way you think he should be, but he's gonna come packaged the way God knows you need it to be.
Exactly. Yes. Because that was my thought. I was just like, this is not, And so fast forwarding, we ended up marrying. But before I even get to that point, there was a process that I had to go through within myself before marriage could even be a consideration for me. Because although my first marriage ended in adultery, I had to be honest with myself about some of the things that I did. Some of the things that I contributed to the failure of the marriage. And many people would just focus on that one thing, that, their marriage ended in adultery. It's his fault. No, because there were some things that happened prior to the adultery taking place. There were some things that were happening that I was saying, that I was doing. Yeah, I came home every day. I took care of the kids. I might not have been at the club or hanging out or committing adultery, but I was disrespectful. I didn't honor him as the man of the house. I didn't, even if he wasn't operating as the man of the house, I still had an obligation to do my part. Yeah. And that was where the disconnect for me happened. I was so out of order in so many things. I was disrespectful from the jump. I was disrespectful when we dated. I was broken when we got together. I was broken. He was broken. We had no business being together from the jump. But I'll tell you this, out of that, we have 4 beautiful children that never trade for the world. But understanding that dynamic, and I think that's where people get messed up, is that you jump into these relationships for whatever reason, whether it's because you have a child, whether it's because, I know for me, I felt that urgency to marry because I got pregnant in college with my ex's baby, and my thought was, I've got to marry him. I've got to marry him now, because that same mentality that I had when I was younger is that I can't have another man raising this child. I have to be in a relationship with him, or I'm going to have to terminate the pregnancy. Right. Those were the things that went through my head. And mind you, people think, oh, you're saved. I can't believe you thought that. Yep. I was saved thinking that. I was thinking that.
I mean, we're human. That's the thing. That's a whole nother talk show about Christianity and the judgment. Like that, I talked about that a lot when we talked about how to fire your devil as a life coach. Right. People in their opinion. So basically, whoever raised you, those were obviously very strong thoughts in their minds on what you could and could not do. Right. And you're not alone, because I was a teenage mom, and I didn't marry their dad. My older 2 kids have a sister 3 months younger than my son. So you can do the math, literally. Okay. And so we didn't marry, but I had the nerve to be a teenage single mom who was snobby. I was like, I'm not having any more kids by a bunch of baby daddies. Like, that was like, that was my thought. So I get it. I get it. Like, you have these things that are set in your mind, and that's it. There's nothing you can tell me. Exactly. But I love, before we go on, it's so beautiful that you are in a place in your life where you welcomed and accepted your own part and your own responsibility. That part alone can't even be rushed past, because it's going to help set somebody free. There is somebody who's going to be led to watch this video who is in pain right now. Like they're in pain.
Right.
Because their husband, maybe they just cheated. Maybe it was 20 years ago and they're still holding that story so tight.
Right.
And it's easier to blame somebody else than it is to take responsibility. Yes. I will put my hand up first. It feels much better to say it's your fault than to look inside ourselves to see. So before we move on, is there just something that you can share with the woman who's in the midst of that pain, whether it was yesterday or 20 years ago, with the healing journey? What would you say to her?
I say that forgiveness is key. Forgiveness of yourself, forgiveness of the other person, understanding that we all have our weaknesses, that what you identify as being wrong in your marriage, you may think, oh, it's minimal, or it's not that big of a deal, but it may have a huge impact on your spouse. Yeah. That's one of the things that I learned, is that to me, the idea of adultery was so devastating.
Yeah.
But so was my disrespect. Yeah. So was me talking to him any other kind of way. So was me telling him that he wasn't a man, and tearing him down, spending days trying to tear him down. People might look at it and say, oh, but you're justified. No, there is no justification for hurt making hurt. Right. You know, we think that when people hurt us, we're supposed to hurt them back. No, that's damage. That's a dysfunctional situation. So I would encourage that person to forgive. I would encourage that person to look inwardly and to strive for their own healing, because that was my goal. My goal wasn't focused on, oh, I'm angry with him, I'm bitter with him. Because the other part of my story is that I didn't grow up with my mom and my dad. I grew up being bounced from place to place. So I always wanted that family. I always wanted a family that I could call my own. And so when we were going through the divorce and I was considering the divorce, all I kept thinking is, you tore my family apart. You tore my family apart. Regardless of how we got here, regardless of whether or not I want to be here, this was the family that I had to have because we have children together, and you tore that apart.
And nobody else can raise them.
To change my thought process and look at things differently, and stop putting all the focus on him, and look toward my own healing, and recognize you was broken before he met you. Yeah. You know, you was messed up, you were jacked up before he met you. Right. You know, and then I was able to go back to him and apologize. And I will never forget this. We were coming from church. I was in the car with my children, and I said, I owe your father an apology. And they all looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, no. I said, because I was out of order and I taught you guys the wrong thing. You guys watched me be so disrespectful to him. You watched me just talk to him any old kind of way. And I was able to see that because I was able to see how they were talking to each other. I was able to see how they were responding to one another, what we had taught them for 16 years.
Exactly.
And I picked up the phone in front of them and I told them, I am sorry. I am sorry for everything that I said to you to tear you down. I'm sorry for everything that I did in front of the children. I am sorry for not respecting you as the person who was my husband at that time, and not building you up and not encouraging. Because, see, I would do things like I would build him up and then I would tear him down. Yep. I would build him up and then I would tear him down. And we women, we do that at times. And what we blame it on is we're mad, or you didn't do what I thought you should do, or you didn't do what I expected you to do. So this is time to tear down and not build up. And I'm justified because you weren't allowing me to control you.
Right. That part right there, because you weren't allowing me to control you.
Exactly.
And really, the core of it all, it's our own pain.
Exactly.
It's our own pain. Yes. That's all it comes down to. It's oh man.
Exactly.
So that sounds like that was the healing moment for your family.
Yes.
That moment right there when you apologize to your babies, apologize to your ex-husband in front of your babies.
Yes.
And now the journey for healing proceeds. Now, were you remarried at that time?
No, I was not.
Okay.
No.
Which is great that you did that healing before you went into. Yes. And that's the thing that people don't realize all the time. We attract people to the level of our dysfunction or health in ourselves.
Yes.
If you wonder why you keep attracting the same type of man with a different face,
Right.
Different name, same exact personality. It means that you have not changed.
Yes.
I'll repeat it. If you find yourself attracting the exact same person over and over and over, you haven't changed.
Exactly.
That's it. Like that's the thing. So now that you've done your work healing, now God has brought you in with a new kind of guy. So talk to me about, if you're not finished, I don't know, but if they're not, I'm now excited to hear about what happened with this wonderful guy who God has sent you that God didn't confirm. Yeah,
God ain't told me about yet.
Yeah. He sent you, but you're like, no, sir. Maybe it's not your prayer. Your prayer time is different than mine.
Exactly.
Wrong woman. Wrong woman.
Right. And as I was going through the healing process, that's when he had come into my life shortly after that. I would say probably maybe 6-7 months after that. And so I still wasn't certain that I was ready. And so I still was praying, because again, I still, even though I'm going through this healing process and I'm trusting and I'm allowing God to have my heart, I'm still not sure that I want to enter into that kind of circumstance of being remarried.
Yes.
I'm still going through my journey of trying not to be judgmental, understanding that, blended families occur for different reasons. And, that if it is God's will for me to remarry, then he'll open the door for that. And he'll send me the person that I need to be with.
Absolutely.
Our issue was, even though I was going through this place of healing, my spouse was not married. I mean, he was not, we weren't married at that time, but he was not married.
Previously.
And my current husband.
Okay. Right. He had never been married before.
Right. He'd never been married before.
Okay.
And so when we had met, he had shared with me that he had probably maybe a few months afterwards, he had shared with me that he had a child on the way. And immediately my thought was, okay, Lord, I know this is not what you told me to.
So wait a minute.
Right.
First of all, I'm not up for anybody raising my kids. Step one. Step two, this man said, God sent you to me. And he sent me a man who has a baby on the way, not already born. The woman is physically pregnant. So you want me to join you at the hospital?
Right.
Okay.
I was time out. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, time out.
Right. You got the wrong girl.
Yeah, no, not the way my story is set up.
But just as quick as I thought that, this is just how amazing God is, because just as quick as I thought that, God reminded me of how embracing he was to my 4.
Woo!
It was needed. It wasn't even a conversation. It wasn't a debate. It was, Lord, you right. I got this. And I remember saying to him,
I love it.
She's carrying a king. I remember saying that to him on our call. I said, she's carrying a king. And that was my attitude through the whole process.
I love it.
Because I knew that regardless of whatever occurred in that relationship, that baby was a blessing. And I think that's what we forget. We get so judgmental. Oh my God, he got a baby on the way. Oh girl, no, you crazy. And that was what my family was saying.
Girl,
my family was like, girl, she was like, are you
know why? Because you don't know, is he really still with her?
Right.
Is he telling you the truth?
Right. Exactly.
The baby wasn't even the thing all the way. It's like, he's probably still with her. He's not telling you the truth. You don't.
They were saying all those things. But see, because of my healing process, me knowing my worth, knowing who I was, I wasn't that girl where I was like worried about that. I was just like, Lord, this is in your hands, because if you called him to me, then I don't got to worry about that stuff. That's their issue. That's what they're concerned about a relationship that they're not even going to be in.
Right.
This is me walking this.
Hello.
Mind
your business.
Exactly. And so once I heard it, like I said, I was at peace with it. I said, okay, Lord, if this is what you called me for, then I know you're going to work it out. If it's not, then I'm good with it either way. And months down the line, we ended up starting a date, because at this time we weren't actually dating. We were just talking, getting to know each other. And so months down the line, we made a decision that we were going to get married. And it wasn't until he must have been 8 months when we ended up getting married.
Wow. So the baby is 8 months.
Yes, 8 months. And he was, and it was, like I said, it was awesome. The whole process was awesome. I had a good relationship with his mother.
Great.
But there was issue with how we blended. Because that part was great. But there was the other side of it, because my children have a father.
Right.
And the agreement was before, when my ex and I split, was that we were going to allow each other to meet whoever it was that we were dating if it got serious. Well, the problem was me and my ex weren't really on good terms at that point.
Yeah.
And so he couldn't handle the moving on. And then not only could the handle of the moving on and having another man around your children.
Right.
And then I did not honor what I had told him, which was the fact that they would have been able to meet prior. So
because you were still trying to get through your stuff. Yeah, it's tough coming to somebody like, I know we don't speak ever, and I know we don't trust each other, and we can't really stand each other right now. But by the way, I met somebody else, and I want you to meet them. Yeah,
right.
I get that.
Yeah. And so I just didn't feel like it was the right thing because of the strain there.
Right.
And because of that, there was all of these issues up front as far as them getting along. And it impacted my children.
Yeah.
It impacted them because here it is, they like this man who's dating their mother.
Right.
And of course their loyalty is to their father.
And how old are they?
How old were they?
Yes. How old were they at that time?
I think my oldest must have been about 16 or about to turn 17. My other one was, she was 13, 12 or 13. And then I had a 9-year-old. I'm sorry, no, hold on a second. So there was a 16-year-old who's about to turn 17. And then I had a 12-year-old who's about to turn 13. And then I had I'm getting all their ages mixed up. I know my daughter's over here thinking, I cannot believe you don't remember our ages, honey. I'm getting old.
You're not getting old. It's okay. Even if it's rushed, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just they were
between the ages of 16 and 10.
Okay.
And so all during that time where, they're developing, they're going through hormonal changes. They're trying to understand who they are. They're in high school. They're dealing with middle school. They're elementary. They're dealing with all those different dynamics. On top of that, their parents have divorced.
Right.
Then not only have their parents divorced, their mom now has this new man in their life who, she's going to be marrying or is married to now. And there's all these issues going on.
Right.
It was very difficult for them. We had one weekend where they were with me, one weekend where they were with their father. So there was a lot of chaos, a lot of we handled a lot of things wrong. I will say that up front, we handled a lot of things wrong. Even though we were going through therapy at that time, the therapist that we were going to had no clue about blended families. We didn't have any clue about blended families. We knew
it's new. Right.
And we thought we were going to operate like an intact family, which was incorrect. Right. You can't do that when you have other parents involved. It's not, you can make it workable, but you can't ignore that there's another parent that exists.
Correct.
Regardless of what the circumstances.
Absolutely.
And that was our hard piece. It was having boundaries. It was understanding those boundaries. It was respecting decisions that parents were making. It was because even though I went through my healing process, I was still struggling with control because I wanted to still tell my ex what he should be doing when the kids went to go visit him or stay with him.
I know that.
Tell me. And then he would call me and tell me what I wasn't doing right. And it was all of this mess. It wasn't until I made a decision and I said, you know what? He's a parent.
Right.
And he's going to make the decisions that he feels is best for the children when they're with him. And I'm going to have to respect that. I stopped accepting the phone calls. I stopped responding to the text messages. I stopped responding to the high conflict. And I made a decision that we wanted peace. And that was a decision that my husband and I made together, that we was no longer responding to dysfunction. We were no longer responding to mess, because what would happen is our children were caught in the middle. They were going from home to home. And because they saw us dysfunctional, they remained dysfunctional. And then they started to manipulate and pit parents against each other. It was a mess. And I would do this thing where I would drill them. They would come back from a visit. Oh, I know you was talking about us over there. Oh, I know you was talking about me. Oh, I know I know what y'all was saying. Making it very difficult.
Trying to find out.
Exactly. And I can imagine now that I'm thinking about this, they probably was sitting in a car coming back home to me thinking, Lord Jesus, my mom is about to start grilling me. You know, what are we going to be able to make up? What can we make up, or what can we leave out?
Yes. And then there's 4 of them. So you knew which one was going to talk the most. Yes. You knew which one was going to spill the beans. You know, yes, the one who's most loyal to the other parent. So yes, you get nothing from them. I get it.
Right. And then it dawned on me one day, and I was thinking, what are you worried about them telling? What are you doing that you're worried about them telling, where it's so bad if they share it with their father?
So good.
Who they've known all their life.
So good.
What are you doing? And I was like, oh, nothing. So then why do you care what they're telling him? It's so their dad. It's their dad. And once I had that aha moment, I was able to let it all go. And my husband and I were like, you know what? We're not defending ourselves anymore. We're not responding to high conflict. We're not responding to text, emails, accusations. No, we're not. And if the children, we're not going to ask them what happened. We're not going to tell them to share with us what happened. We don't even want to know. Yes. And unless you're in danger, unless you're bleeding, unless you are hurt, we don't need to know that.
We don't. You know? We're just
and we kept the kids out of adult business. Yes. We kept the kids out of adult business. If I wanted to know what was going on, then I should have picked up the phone and called their father. And I didn't need to grow kids.
Right.
I didn't need to grow the kids. I put them in adult situations. I caused so much drama. And it's easy to put it on a kid and be like, oh yeah, they manipulators. You know, they just causing drama.
Right. And we don't realize our part in us putting them in that place to feel that way.
Yes. Yes. There's so many things that they shouldn't have been aware of. There's so many things that they shouldn't have known. There's so many things as parents that we should have protected them from. But see, we were in our feelings. Yes. We were all in our feelings, and we were thinking about us and thinking about our image and thinking about this or thinking about that. We weren't thinking about, how is this impacting the kids? Why don't they get along? Why are they fighting all the time? Why aren't they saying nice things to one another? Well, look at y'all. Look at what y'all, you know, and then you want to go punish them when they do it, but who's punishing you?
Exactly.
Punishment. But the punishment is the seeds that you sow, and when they grow up in their weeds, that's the punishment, because now you got to fix all that mess that you created.
That is it's the exact breakdown of how Empowered Stepmother came to be.
Mm-hmm.
It was my middle baby boy. And I love each of my kids. They've all given me such a different gift. Every time I say each, my husband's like, you act like you have like 17 kids, Tuniscia. There's 3 of them. But still, my middle baby boy taught me about motherhood and love like no one before. My older baby girl has taught me loyalty and how to speak to me in love and still say, Ma, get it together. She's my only girl. So she's a girl to say that. My middle baby boy taught me motherhood, but he taught me that motherhood through me watching what I taught him as he grew up. And by watching what I taught him as he grew up, and I'm sitting back watching a movie, I was like, this is not good. Right. I literally had a complete meltdown because all of those bad habits that I had, I taught him. Because as parents, we always want to say the good things about the kids. Oh, you get that from my side of the family.
Yes, exactly.
I talk, you're smart just like me.
You want to talk about the generational curse.
No. The bad stuff, you know your father taught you that. Or if it's your father, that's your other side of the family.
From your cousin.
Yeah, exactly. But we don't want to say, you know, I literally, when you share that, I love that you're so transparent with that. And that is growth in us, because Ike, he is at school being quite aggressive. I'm like, why can't you get along with the kids at school? Why are you debating? Well, because we debate a lot at home. Like, but that's the way my husband and I, like how we talk, like, oh yeah, da-da-da. But we're adults. We know what we're talking about. He's a kid watching it. And I was like, I'm sorry, my love. We've taught you that debating is the way to communicate. And it's not, there's a time and a place for going back and forth on, you know, if you want to be on the debate team, yes, it works, but that doesn't work. And we're that way because both of us are real estate brokers, right? So we're constantly negotiating. Right. I was paralegal before I was a real estate broker. So our line of work was always defending what we needed to say and debating why it needed to be different or better to get the best deal for our clients.
Right.
Doesn't work in first grade.
Right. Right.
I said, I had to say sorry. And you know what? It healed. Your children are so blessed in the midst of everything that's happening for them in their life, to have a mother who paused to say, let me look at me.
Right.
And they may not really get it until a few more years go on as they continue to live their lives. It's where they'll get it, because at this age, they don't really get it.
Right.
But they are blessed to have you be you and say, let me look at you, you know, and even our conversations that we've had offline.
Right.
Man, I was like, this lady, I love it, because I'm just someone who loves people who are resourceful in what they're looking to do through accountability.
Right.
You're resourceful in what you want, which
Right.
is a productive, healthy family through
Mm-hmm.
your own accountability. You're not resourceful in what you want to do by blaming or forcing somebody else to do something else.
Right.
All of your resourcefulness and your desires start with you. Kudos to you.
Well, thank you.
Because that's a big deal.
Right.
It makes me I get so excited. Like when I hear women, like, I'm like, yes, because once we get it, there's nothing we can't do.
Right. Right, because that's part of healing. That's like you have to be able to be willing to look in the mirror at yourself and say, you know what, I didn't do that right. It's easy to blame the high conflict parent, but sometimes we have to try to understand, how did they get there? How did they become high conflict? What part did I play?
Yes,
exactly. What part did I play?
I love it. You know? Kudos to you, my love. Like, that's a really, really, it's a beautiful gift to give yourself. Because it's a gift that will be shared with your family, your husband, like all of the relationships just transforming. And the reason why I can celebrate you so much is because I was there. You know, those of us who have gone through it, of course, we're still growing. But as we grow through it, we know the pain we went through to even get there, because it's not easy.
Right.
Look in the mirror.
No, it's not.
Oh my gosh. Sometimes
people look at us now and they're like, oh my gosh, you know, everything looks so wonderful and sweet. Yeah. There was a process. There was a change that took place in me. And, you know, and I knew that I was going in the right direction when my daughter, who's in college, she must have been a junior. And she sent me a text one day and said, Mom, thank you so much for what you do. Thank you for showing me how a marriage looks. Thank you for showing me what it is to be a wife and to be a mother. That I just, tears just came down.
Oh, yes. That's what it's all about.
Waiting for. That is, you know, we want to know that what we're doing is effective. We want to know that what we're doing is effective parenting, effective communication, effective relationships.
Yes.
And when your children are able to say it, to me, that's when you know, right?
Oh, the children
take the defense when their children start to tell them about themselves or things that they didn't like. Many times we can't handle that as parents.
Right.
We can't handle it. But see, I give my children permission to say, Mom, this bothers me. Or Mom, you know, I don't want, and I tell them all the time, I don't want to know about it when you're 30 and 40, when you can't fix it.
Yeah.
When we in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Going through it. Don't wait until it's over and I don't have a chance to fix what I've done. You know, because sometimes as parents, we don't always have it together. We don't always have it together. We might think we know. We don't come with a manual.
Right.
And, you know, and so sometimes our children, based on how they respond to what we say or what we do, that helps us to go into the right path that we need to do if effective parenting is what we are striving for, if a home is what we're striving for, if we're trying to get away from dysfunction and breaking cycles.
Yes.
You have to be willing to change course. You know, if we want to do things like Mama, Daddy did it, Auntie and Sally, and have a home of dysfunction, then you continue down the path that you're going.
Right, you're on point.
But, right. But if you want something different, then you have to be willing to make change within yourself and not be pointing to what everybody else around you needs to be doing.
I love it. That right there. So, oh God, I just love this stuff. I love it. And I know people are like, you're always so happy. I am happy because there's a reason to be happy, like to celebrate. I already spent years not happy. I'm not spending any more than like, I'm
like, oh my goodness. I am so glad you said to Tuniscia, because when I was going through that process of healing, I remember saying that I am so tired of being mad, angry, sad, upset, irritated about everything. I am so tired of being in that place.
Yes. Yeah. And then because other people aren't where we are, wherever that is, anybody watching, wherever you are, because they're not where you are, They want you to play small inside this box in order to make them feel comfortable for where they are. You know, people, empowered stepmother is a simple topic. It's a simple name. And you'd be amazed at little comments. And I don't even let what people say disturb me, but I hear people like, it's never going to be that good. It can't be that great. You're right.
Right.
For you.
I am so glad that people are coming out, Tuniscia, and sharing their stories of how good it can be.
Yes, because it's important, because there's so much shame and embarrassment around being a stepmother, because as soon as something goes wrong, they're like, it's your fault.
Exactly.
Stepmom.
Yes.
It's your fault.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, it's your fault.
It's a whole other story. That is
and it's a whole, listen, I'm telling you, soon I'm gonna put a team of us together, probably in the next couple of weeks, because I'm traveling in a couple of days. I'm gonna get like me and you, Sunita, a couple of the other. We're gonna do a huge broadcast.
Yes.
To kind of start talking about the dispelment of it's not our faults. And the more we share our stories, the more we are empowered. You know. And so I hear people say, "This is real life stuff." It is real life stuff. There are custody battles that you go through. There is drama. I've been through it. I know restraining orders. We filed them. You know what I mean? Like, I get it.
Yeah.
That does not mean that I need to wear it across my forehead to say I survived drama. No. I get to tell you, I get to be who I am. You get to be who you are. And we will continue to spread this. But I'm telling you, Empowered Stepmother is a movement.
Yes.
There's some really amazing stuff that I'm so excited that I can't announce on live that is happening behind the scenes. And I'm so grateful. And I'm so grateful for the tribe of empowered stepmothers, because we are truly a tribe of empowered women, first of all, mothers, most importantly, and we get to create our own footsteps in the sand.
Yes.
But it starts with us.
Right. Exactly.
Period. No matter where the journey starts, it doesn't even matter. We can spend all year talking about whatever the ex did, how the husband isn't supportive enough. We can listen all day. For me, the way my patience is set up, I'm just going to be honest with you, Sharon, if I can, where my patience is set up, I can only listen to that negativity.
Oh my goodness.
Like before my mind is like.
Right. Exactly. Before I can't. You only got, but how many seconds? And then we need to be talking about what we're going to do about it.
30 more seconds.
30 seconds go. And now we need to be talking about what we're going to do.
Because I'm like, the way my personality, and I'm gonna tell you, I thought it was me. I was like, oh, this is bad. But then I read a bunch of John Maxwell books, and I'm like, he talks about himself. Those are the things that help free me. Like, okay, I can still be a leader and still be who I am. So for those of you listening, it's okay if your personality is not, and if you are talking to somebody who seems like they're impatient or whatever the case, because it's the 50th time you've told them the exact same story and you've rejected all of the advice that you asked for. It's called an ask hole. You just ask and throw the info into the hole. You never do anything about it. Don't be frustrated. Maybe shift. Maybe they're inviting you, and maybe talk to somebody else, because that person may not be able to bring out whatever it is in you. But I'm so excited to have you. So what would you say? I know what I'm thinking of the successful blend after divorce. I hear so many amazing keynotes. What would you say is the most important thing for people to know or do when they are preparing to blend the new family?
I think they should really think about some serious questions, some things that they need to understand that could possibly occur in a blended family. And I'm glad you brought that up, because through this journey, I put together a questionnaire. At Blended Family, if you go to my website, Sharon M. Kelly, you can see there's a blended family questionnaire on there. And this questionnaire is basically based on conversations that I've had within myself, conversations that I've had with my mate, with my children, with other families who have blended families or people who are considering it. And what the questionnaire does is you're able to answer and think about some questions of things that you might deal with within a blended family. I think we go in it sometimes with unrealistic expectations.
I love it.
We go in it broken. We go in it unhealed, still holding on to baggage from the past, and not understanding that if you can't deal with that old stuff,
Right.
You're adding all that junk on top of a whole new dynamic that you've never even experienced. You're not even going to be able to comprehend. There's so many things that we've dealt with within our blended family that they were not things that me and my spouse spoke about when we were in the dating process.
Right.
They weren't. And like I said, we went to relationship counseling when we were dating.
They were in the church.
Relationship counseling even when we got engaged. When we got married and we went on our honeymoon, me and even before then, him, me, and my children were all in counseling together, even before we got married, to help them process the blend. Right. And then when we got off the cruise on Sunday, that Monday, we were in family counseling as an actual family. But let me tell you, we didn't have the right counselor. If you have a counselor who has no clue about blending, then you miss the mark. You miss the mark. So I would advise therapy with someone, or a life coach with someone who is well-versed in blended families.
Yes.
And the success of blended families.
Yes.
As well as, making sure that you understand that sometimes your expectations can be unrealistic for your circumstances. Mm-hmm. The things that, like you, Tuniscia, you might be able to tolerate or deal with in your blended family, or maybe a process for your blended family, may not be a process for mine. Right. Or I may not be able to handle, or my spouse may not be able to handle. So we have to assess all the people who are involved and what is doable and what is workable, and work with that, work with what we have, not looking over the fence at what everybody else is doing, or what we think about Joe and Sue are doing or works for them, because everybody's situation is different. So I say expectations. I say sitting down and having serious conversations about what you could deal with. And again, the questionnaire, even if you don't want to fill out the questionnaire, go and look at it and look at some of the questions that you should be asking yourself or asking your mate. It's free to do. And it's important to take the time to do your research. Pick up some Empowered Stepmom. Think of all the different books that are out there that are available for you to read, the resources, research it, read on it, so that you can understand what occurs and what are some of the things that you might experience. Because when they talk about how second marriages are even at 75% divorce rate, it's because of this. It's because they aren't having these questions before. So they end up running into it when they're in their marriage, and they're like, oh, I can't deal with this.
And you're taking your same broken stuff into the next relationship.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, I listen, to all the people in the Empowered Stepmother tribe, you're watching this. I'm telling you, I 100% go to Sharon, give them the website again in a second. Go to her. If you are blending after a divorce, she's the person that you want to talk to. I was not married blending from a divorce. So I don't have that level. Of course, I can help you as an empowered stepmother, which is one element of it. But there's so many different elements and dynamics of this situation. So you should check her out. Reach out to her for coaching if you're blending and trying to work through it. She did all the steps that they told you to do. Go to counseling, go to therapy, be in church, don't be in church, do it this way, do it that way. She did it all, but it all came down to Sharon looking in the mirror and saying, who am I? And her turning to her babies to say, mommy didn't get it right.
Right.
And you know what? Most of us are afraid to say, mommy didn't get it right, or daddy didn't get it right. But believe it or not, that allows them to be transparent and open enough to say, I'm not going to get it right sometimes either. And it doesn't make us any more special or precious. They love you even more for that, because now you've told them, you're not going to get it right, my love, but we're in this together.
Right.
Together. I love it. Thank you so much for joining. I told you about my flower. Girl, my flower. This is my tea, y'all. You see that, guys? That opened up in my tea. Y'all don't know. If you're ever looking for a gift to send me some tea. You see this flower? I've been staring. If you were watching, wondering what the heck is Tuniscia looking at? It was my flower. It's the little things that make me so happy. So just like my flower that just started off as a little ball and blossomed into this when it hit water, healing is your water. You get to expand and blossom in your life when you add the right ingredient to it. So thank you so much for joining us. Please let them know once again where they can join the event. I know you have a book coming out very soon. I cannot wait.
Children's book, so get ready.
Yes, so I'm excited. So tell us about the your website, your services, the event coming up on May 4th. Let us know before we close on out.
Okay. You can learn all about my events and different things that are coming up on SharonMKelly.com. There'll be information about the Blended Family Conference, which is coming up on May 4th. So please, please, please get your tickets by March 31st. There'll be so many life coaches there. There's a speaker there that actually teaches the class at Fairfax County for co-parenting, which is a big thing for us in blended families. So please get your tickets, come out and hear what all the speakers have to say. There'll be a panel discussion. Tuniscia O will be on it. It's going to be a great experience. There's going to be raffles, prizes, vendors. We're going to have so much fun. It's free food, so come out and join us. I also am the founder of PowerMax Company, which is going to host this blended family conference called Blended with Love. We also have in the summertime, in September 28th coming up, it's called Safety Awareness Community Day event. It's a free event that's open to the public. And we have called This Christmas Talent Show, actually This Christmas Talent Competition that is in December that we have where we give gifts back to families that are in need. So tune in to SharonMKelly.com and you can learn all about the events there. And I hope to see you guys at the conference.
Yes. Come on out, you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you again, Sharon. If you don't have your copy of Empowered Stepmother, it is free. That means FREE, free, not free if you buy something else. It's just free. Go to Amazon.com. It's there. It's free. So if you want the ebook version, the print version is not free, but the ebook version is free, you guys. It's awesome. Thank you to all the people who have already forwarded the information and downloaded it. From my family to yours, we love you. Thank you for joining. I hope you guys have an amazing Saturday, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. See you later.
See you guys later.